Greetings, weary travelers, come. Warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and of course, tales of Tamriel. I am your host, Arkaniir Silvershield, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the Battlespire Conqueror, LotusOfDoom. How's it going, Lotus?
I'm substantially better than I've been the last couple of weeks, because as you alluded to, this week will be the final time that I have outside ESO news, Tales of Battlespire, as I, a little insight, managed to beat Battlespire since our last show.
There you go. I mean, we need to find you something new to suffer through so that we can continue enjoying your tales. But, and you have to do that before the next show. Because there is no tales anymore without your suffering. It's it's been a core thing now. People don't come here for me or Pixie. They come here for your, pain and suffering.
I'm almost out of the really old, rough Elder Scrolls games, and then I'll just have the super good ones.
Well,
Morrowind,
I mean, you still have
Oblivion,
Daggerfall.
Skyrim.
I feel like Daggerfall is going to be painful enough. Although I heard it's better.
Will just be age. I mean, Redguard is rough. I have no idea what I'm into for with the other phone games, the Java phone games.
Oh God, yeah, I keep forgetting.
I don't know what I'm in. Yeah, I know. I don't know what I'm getting into with those.
Well, so in the news department, we don't have too many things. We have a couple things to mention. We have the Crownstore showcase and the dates, not the details, but the dates for another event. And then we also have our tales. But before we get into all that, we need to talk about the people who allow this endeavor, this dungeon crawling endeavor, or Tamriel exploration endeavor, to go on. And those are the people who carry the torches, who take on the challenges as the vanguard, and the Knight of DCN, Noodle Al Dante, and the Champion of DCN, SDDLC himself. Thank you all so very much for, keeping all of this going and keeping the metaphorical torches lit over at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork. And that's my shameless self-plug. So, as mentioned, we have the dates for the Year 1 celebration event. It is going to start August 26 and will run until September 7. It will involve Craglorn, Hrothgar, and the Imperial City to earn rewards and event tickets. However, we don't have the details yet. There is no article to accompany it, so details we will mention later. However, in the comments, they replied to Eola for saying that it will have 2 tickets a day, one for a Craglorn or a Hrothgar daily, and one for an Imperial City daily. So one thing you can always do is, before it gets crowded, go there, do all the dailies, but do not turn them in, or as many as you can, and do not turn them in. So once the event starts, you can avoid especially in Imperial City, avoid the PvP, avoid the crowd, and just log in, turn in a daily, get your ticket, and avoid dealing with people like that if you do not enjoy the PvP side of it. I myself don't even care about the tickets, go in there for the PvP, so I generally end up forgetting to turn in a daily, but still get involved with the PvP side.
The other thing that could be useful is these events usually come with like some type of double drop thing. This is speculation, obviously, as we just said. We don't have exact details, but in those cases, if you need Trials gear, you've got Craglorn. If you need Maelstrom weapons, now would probably be a good time because, as we mentioned, RNG, twice the drops, twice the chance to actually get what you're looking for. So that stuff's very useful, and some of the sets that come out of the Imperial City expansions dungeons, both Imperial City Prison and White Gold Tower, both are usually included. So if that ends up being double drops, you got a good chance of getting the stuff you need out of there. So Definitely good time outside of ticket stuff to grab, gear you need from those things, and it'll definitely minimize RNG a bit with the double drop things, which I assume that's basically always a thing from my understanding. So I would assume it's probably.
I don't think it has ever not been a thing. So,
right.
Yeah, you're right. It should I think still be a thing. And I keep forgetting that Maelstrom is part of Hrothgar, so that's a very good point.
Is.
That will be a very good time to farm for your, well, if you don't have the perfected ones, and if you don't have, or just go for the normal versions, because some people's RNG with those is, oof. So some people are lucky, like Ophelia, getting their perfected, like, first fire staff on their first or something try, and then getting the perfected version again within the first couple tries or something. So, and then there are people like Child of Cities who has to run it God knows how many 100 times, and
It's RNG's in the toilet.
That's a good time to get your hands on it.
So just on the topic of this, look at it this way. This is essentially like the most useless trivia you can possibly have. I have no idea when this would help anybody, but it's just fun, useless trivia about ESO for you. If you do Ice Reach, I don't know if it'll apply to this event, but Ice Reach technically counts as questing in Hrothgar based on regional position of where the dungeon is. So
yeah, but it's its own DLC, so I think it will have its own celebration thing.
But the reason I bring it up is you can actually complete your Hrothgar Grand Adventure by doing the quest in Ice Reach for that dungeon. Oh. I know this because somebody got it on their alt in our group. They did it we were running it for gear, and he was like, "Oh, I'll just do it on this alt." And when he did it, he popped his Hrothgar Grand Adventure for doing like whatever it was 20 quests in the zone. He's like, "What the hell?" It's like, "Oh, I guess it technically is in."
Actually, it
Hrothgar
would be nice if Ice Reach also counted in Hrothgar celebration event.
Yeah. So,
Rich.
So it's just one of those things. It was more brought up because I thought it was funny trivia when we found that out, but it was just like, that's weird. I wouldn't assume, like you said, that's a different DLC separated by many, many years. So I don't think it would apply. It's just kind of funny that code-wise, that's where it qualifies as.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, I wonder if
we didn't.
See, what I'm curious about is whether if they deliberately made it that way, like had to specifically code it that way, or is it actually location based and it just automatically grabbed Ice Reach as part of Hrothgar without additional coding?
I would almost guess too, but it was just a fascinating thing that we stumbled into once.
But when the details hit, which I assume will be next week or something like that.
Yeah, it's usually the week of the event.
Yeah, we are gonna get into what you can do, what you can earn, and all the stuff like that in more detail. That brings us to Crownstore Showcase for August 2021. And I gotta say, I'm gonna lose some crowns this month. My crown bank is gonna empty out a bit because there are some real cool items. This month's ESO Plus free statuette is Kine, although the name is Kinnareth Air Goddess. I refuse that. It's Kine, Mother of all Nords, Goddess of Storms. Okay, no Imperial Pantheon. Let's keep it Nordic. We have some, actually, for the first time, the closest beard style to my actual beard.
Yeah,
you could replace Arkaniir with this if you get it.
It's true.
It's the Brigand's beard, and it is closest to what I have for the first time. Because the previous one is actually long and knotted, basically, which mine never really gets that long. So it's a lie.
It's a lie.
There will be the rock, paper, scissors, or soul gem parchment clippers emote. Will be returning to the... Oh, actually, I missed this. That's August 3 to August 5. We are on August 8. Ah, man, never mind. I missed the beard as well. Hold on. Scrolling back.
Oh, rip. You're right.
My
Warrior
distracted
remains the
self.
same. Rip.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm sad.
And there was a hairstyle that we actually missed, too.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we get for being out of commission last week.
Yeah, now I'm sad.
Yeah.
I really wanted the emote, but I forgot. Anyway.
Oh, the sword's still there. All right, that was what I was
the sword is still there. So the Elder Scrolls artifact for this month is Sword of Gigalag, and it will be available from August 12th to 16th. It is a great sword, and it looks quite nice. So if that's your thing, you can grab it. Molakina Arms Pack will be available. Crested Viper Armor Pack will be available, which I don't like the look of. It looks strange to me. Now this is nice. Torvokun Arms Pack. This is full-on dragon bones, dragon scale, weapons, and shield. And that shield, if it's a big shield, if it's not one of those small ones...
It looks big.
I want this.
Yeah, it doesn't
If it's
look
one of
like
those
a buckler.
small ones, like smaller, almost buckler size ones, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be happy. But if it's the similar size to at least the Imperial Shield or the Daedric Shield... preferably the Mercenary or Ebonheart Pack Shield, which are gigantic.
Oh, I love the Ebonheart Pack Shield.
Yeah.
So good.
But this is, depending on the size, this will be a very nice shield. It has the
Yep.
glowing, green glowing eyes and the dragon skull and horns embedded on the rest of the scales and bones is the shield. It's a very nice shield. So, yeah. This will be available from August 31st to September 29, which is almost Crownstore
almost a
showcase
month.
for
Yeah, it's almost like the next one.
September. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, it still counts as August, so that will be available almost next month. But keep an eye out because that is a pretty neat weapon style. Also, I don't know. I think the alert from Dog's sub just actually worked for text-to-speech. So, I don't know if that's going to show up on the show or not. But what he said was, what about as big as the best shield, aka the Daggerfall Covenant shield? No. The best shield is Ebonheart Pact. Look, it has dragons. You can't compete with dragons,
Look at it this
okay?
way. Dogged is not totally off base. He's corrected. It is the second best aligned shield.
There you go. Yeah.
As we always say, it's just everybody against the Dominion. It's fine.
True. Yeah. So there will, of course, be the Waking Flame crown crafting motif. That will be available with the, Waking Flame.
Yep. Confirm
you
the
can
dungeon
also
to get it or just buy it.
Yeah, you can also get it from the Baron Zadrus in the Cauldron dungeon. So, but that will require some RNG and clearing it a lot of times.
Yeah.
So
there's some chance for it to drop on normal, a better chance on vet, and a guaranteed piece at least. Not one you don't necessarily have. It's just a random pick. But if you do hard mode, you at least get a guaranteed page. So,
in addition to those, we have a lot of costumes returning from previous times. We have the Imperial City Collector's Bundle and the Orsinium Collector's Bundle becoming available. Now, if you are not subbing regularly to ESO Plus, these are generally good times to buy these DLCs. So that you have access to them all the time without subbing to ESO Plus. Although ESO Plus is still the best value. But as an option, you can, as I always say, so the best, most cost-effective way to get everything in Elder Scrolls Online is subbing for 3 months. During that 3 months, doing the Story Zone DLCs. And after those 3 months, using the crowns you got to buy the dungeon DLCs. That way, you do the DLCs, story DLCs, get them out of the way, get your drops or rewards or specific item sets or whatever you want to get from those. And then use the crowns you got to buy the dungeon DLCs, which then you will be able to have all the time and do the dungeons even if you are not sub to ESO Plus. So that's my way of always like being able to do everything on a budget. Even though I've been subbed God knows how long, I don't know. Even when I don't play, my sub is going in the back, ESO Plus. So
yeah. See, and it's like I don't usually sub. I'm part of the rare group that, I guess on the flip side, I'm always the person who can actually vouch for the fact that the game's totally playable without ESO Plus. Because I largely do not play without ESO Plus. I'll have it every now and then, but for the most part, I don't. But my go-to was always I don't buy crowns. I sub to ESO till I had enough crowns to buy the expansion that I wanted. And usually I would just preemptively do it. And if you needed it in progress, you've got it while you're subbed so you can play it. And then once you can afford it, then you can just buy it outright. Because I own all of the DLCs. Like, I've purchased them all. It's just how I prefer to do things.
Yep.
But that craft bag, man, having that get taken away
that craft
it's
bag
rough.
is the thing for
it's the selling.
ESO.
100%. It's my inventory lights on fire when I don't have ESO Plus.
So we have a new music box, the Meyer Frogs hymn, and it looks like it's going to be another animated one with a wooden. My eyes, I don't know. It looks like it has a wooden frog in the middle that I would assume will be animated. So that's coming. Now this is pretty neat, and with the availability of the massive castle/chapel house, I don't want to say house for that place, but furnishing back Chapel of Zenitar comes with a lot of tapestries and chapel furnishing, carpets and things like that. It's pretty neat. We are also getting the Malakat's Chosen furnishing pack. As for houses, the arena is returning, and okay, I want to talk about this place. Panterfang Chapel. Now, this is a massive, massive castle. It's not a chapel. This is an entire castle that you can now buy from August 17 to September 2, you'll be able to buy. It has a full-size chapel that you see in Leavin or, Gold Coast, that Imperial Chapel, the full-size thing. In addition to that, it has a full-size courtyard. It has a secret underwater way, like a storm drain / dock. It has full-size battlements up on the top of the walls. And it has a full-size fort within, with 2 floors and three floors, several rooms, a massive main hall like the throne room, and 2 towers. So I am looking forward to seeing how people decorate this. Like, AV,
what will the housing answers
well, I don't know if
this?
AV will get onto it, but like, for example, Aurora. Like, it's the housing mansers of ESO. And how
Ninja
they decorate
Monkey,
this.
Aurora.
Ninja Monkey.
There's some people. Some people do some amazing stuff.
Because the way I see it, the only way to decorate this place with 700 items is if you bar either the chapel or the castle. You can't have both. That's one of the two has to go. It's no, it's so big. It's gigantic. But at the same time, it's pretty cool. Like, having your own entire castle is pretty neat. But again, like, the only way I can decorate it is barring off some part of it. It's just like, make it look like it's collapsed, or I don't know, biohazard.
This wing is closed.
Don't open, dead inside. Just put a soul shriven inside, and yeah, that's... But yeah, good luck, people, to who to the people who are going to... Honestly, I'm tempted as well, even though my primary objective right now is decorating the Leavin house. I am tempted to get this place just because it's your own castle. I mean...
Right.
Yeah. So, we also are getting some house guests. We are getting a Bosmer. No, is that a Bosmer? That's a Bosmer, right?
Erenthil?
Erenthil, yeah. That's a Bosmer. So, we are getting a Bosmer thief who is on the path to become Lady Twilight herself. Good luck. And we are getting, now this is great, a blacksmith, an orc blacksmith called Narboth. Now, Erethiel is available for 1500 crowns already, will be available until August 12th, so don't miss it if you want it. And Narboth will become available during the year 1 celebration. So that will be, when did I say? I completely forgot already. Hold on. August 26th to September 7th. There you go.
That.
Yeah. So we get 2 new great house guests. Like, some of the house guests we got were, they were very default, but an orc blacksmith and a thief Bosmer, those are really good. Mainly, I'm looking at it for immersion and role-playing perspective, like people with forges in their houses, like forge decorations and whatnot. Having a blacksmith NPC there will be very, very nice. So, all right. We got some mounts coming back and also getting introduced. Not gonna go into too many details. We got some pets. We got some skins. And that's pretty much about it, honestly. So that's, again, a pretty full Crownstore showcase. And definitely will bleed out some people's crown banks.
Supply.
Yeah, crown supplies, yeah. That brings us to Tales. Now, before I let you go, I'm gonna talk about our D&D a bit, because we had quite a bit of intense D&D session this past couple episodes. So for anyone who doesn't know, we play an Elder Scrolls themed D&D with Ophelia, Ninja614, KPOWXD, and Dawn Whisper, and myself. I play Wilhelm the Nord, surprise, and we've been basically, it takes place about 4 or 5 years after the events of Elder Scrolls Online's main quest, and we've been pretty much uncovering this sort of Daedric plot that we still haven't got much clue about. So, during our travels and adventures, we got news that whatever might happen next, because the Big Stees have been getting attacked by the Daedra. And we got specifically Mages Guilds as well in Big Stees. First Windhelm, and then Solitude, and then we got news that the next target was could possibly be Wayrest. So we got to the Mages Guild, we were like, teleport us to, Daggerfall Covenant Wayrest. They contacted the Mages Guild there. Some diplomatic politics stuff happened, because, we are teleporting from Ebonar Pact. And we made it all the way there. At that point, we also got introduced to HyperPixie, as in the previous episodes I explained. Ophelia got her as a special guest without telling any of us, and managed to keep it secret for like 2 months until we made our way to Daggerfall Covenant. But yeah, we got there, we talked with High King Emeric, and we got assigned to a scout group, Daggerfall Covenant scout group, and we went on our way to explore these variety of different ruins and caverns that Daedra or Daedric activity may be happening. So the scout group checked out a certain of, we sort of shared, whichever ones we were gonna check out. The scout group went away as the NPCs, and we went our way. So in one of those, we found a feral vampire. We killed it. Wasn't too much of a deal. And then the next one, we arrived at these ruins. I forgot the name. Something Caverns. Anyway, we arrived there in Glenumbra, and we sort of cautiously started exploring the place. At that point, we wanted to see within, like, inside the ruins. So Kajaji, played by K-Pow, who is an Alfiq, jumped on top of a wall because she's, Alfiq cat. They are very agile. So she jumped on the top of a wall to scout the area, immediately got shot with 2 arrows and just plopped back on the floor. So the entire party went, oh shit, So Dawn Whisper, who's playing Caravan, the High Elf, just grabbed her and we just ran for cover. While we were running, I also got shot with an arrow. But my character is a tank, surprise. So I
really
shrugged it off.
As always.
Yeah. I basically shrugged it off. So we made it to cover. I used the skill to heal myself. Kajaji also used the skill to heal, I think, herself. So we got into the cover. And suddenly, my character started hearing voices. And I sort of got this very painful headache and, like, dropped to my knees. So Caravan, playing High Elf, got in front of my character to protect him. Because, at that point, we still haven't seen any enemies, and we are taking a lot of damage left and right. And so she got in front of me, and then this thorny stuff appeared around her head, and she just smacked me in the head with the quarterstaff. And I'm like, what? Why did you do that? So my character, being a very strength-oriented character, basically, like, grabbed her hands, and that's where we ended the session. Right there, which was a very big cliffhanger. And then we haven't played for a month until today, because Dawn Whisper and K-Pow and Ninja, I think, had their Roleplays ESO streams on days where we would play D&D. So fast forward to this week, earlier today actually, and we started the session again from where we left off, and we got attacked by a couple of cultists right at the very beginning. Now my character, seeing the cultists, just yeeted Caravan off to the back and just charged at the cultists. We killed them, and Ninja, I believe, playing the Argonian, caught with the corner of his eye a Daedra just darting to a tower. So we chased after them, and it's the 2 Daedra that we fought earlier when they attacked Solitude with an army of, like, smaller Daedra and stuff. And they tried to make it look like Covenant soldiers as well. They used an illusion spell to make it look like Covenant was attacking Solitude. So it was this mage and archer Daedra. And these are more, not like this small Daedra, but, Zifkins and, sentient, more lieutenant type Daedras. So we got into a combat with them. And the mage one kept mind controlling Caravan and Liliana, which was played by Pixie. So they kept, like, the mage keeps mind controlling Caravan, Liliana keeps counterspelling it, and then it controls Liliana, Caravan does something. So it was this back and forth between the two. We took quite a bit more damage in the process. We managed to kill the archer, and the mage opened the Daedric portal. The ones from the Oblivion, actually. Not the small ones from Blackwood, but the big ones from Oblivion. This portal opened, and just as I was trying to grapple and get a hold of this mage, because I wanted to catch it alive, but I failed all my rolls. I was rolling out of a d20, 3, 4, 5, 10, 5, 4, 3.
Rip.
And yeah, rip indeed. So I was, like, my character is full on strength based, and I just couldn't get a hold of this mage. It kept, like, slipping out of my grapple, thanks to my rolls. And one time I was getting near catching him, Ophelia said, make a wisdom roll. I rolled a 20, which is a critical hit, which is a great thing. And I was like, yeah, there we go. Finally, a critical hit. Wisdom roll as well, which, you know, if it wasn't very apparent, my character is not wisdom based. And I still failed, which is very rare when you critical roll something, when you make a critical hit. And I got charmed by the stupid Daedra, along with Pixie's character, Liliana. So we both Pixie and I, just went, why are we even fighting this Daedra? She seems nice. I don't know why I'm fighting her. And we basically just disengaged from fighting the Daedra mage. And what she did is, so I snapped out of it eventually. But guess who didn't snap out of it? Pixie. And our Mage Daedra friend grabbed Pixie, jumped into the Oblivion portal, and disappeared. So that's where we are. Pixie is lost in God knows whichever Oblivion plane now. That might be the final we actually saw of Pixie.
Wow.
Yeah. She might be gone.
I was gonna... Comes in dramatically, ends dramatically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she's gone. So
I mean, she did mention that the odds that she would just be alive for that long weren't great. She lasted a few sessions.
Oh yeah,
she might not still be there, but
we'll see if we can rescue her character. And, yeah, but
interesting.
Yeah,
and as that's brought up in chat, like, because I can actually vouch for this as pretty much the majority of the community. I'm kind of like an exception to this rule. I don't really know much of anything about D&D for the most part. It's not really super my thing or whatever. Cannot recommend It's Less Traveled Enough, because as somebody who is not into D&D or whatever, it's really amusing. You do not need to understand D&D to be entertained by it. Like, I actually joke that, like, a lot of times I'll be cleaning or I'll go to the gym and the group of you are kind of like my background. And the way you all interact with each other, as well as the way that she, like, DMs everything and directs it, it has a really good flow where it literally just feels like you're watching a TV show. Like, you don't need to know. Yeah, it's the thing. It's like you don't need to have a background in D&D to be amused by it. So I definitely recommend it.
There's actually two group of people watching it at the moment. So there are the D&D players, because we stream it under Dungeons and Dragons category on Twitch.
Okay.
Who don't know Elder Scrolls but know D&D. And then there are the people who don't know D&D but know Elder Scrolls. So yeah, and as you said, it's an amusing party because I'm a Nord, K-Pop is an Alfiq, Ninja is an Argonian who's called Gives Thick Tails, and he basically hits on anything that moves and only wears a loincloth. And Caravan is a high elf coming from a well-known noble family. And we are put together by Ophelia. So the party is just, no one agrees on one thing in the party. And we are just tumbling through Tamriel, somehow not dying. So if you're interested in watching this, you can find the collection on Ophelia's Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Ophelia. And if you scroll to the collections there, like videos collections, you can find all the episodes. There's quite a few episodes, but there are also catch-up videos that Ophelia recorded at certain milestones. So you can just watch those catch-up videos, and you'll be up to date with the final episodes, basically. So there you go.
And sometimes the little graphics are neat, too. Like when you guys were all battling on the wall. I forget where it was that you got... Someplace was getting sieged, and I just was amused by, like, whatever program she used that had the little art for where you were. And I was just mesmerized by the little, like, fire graphics that were going around during the fight.
We are using Foundry VTT, which allows for, like, dynamic maps and character tokens. ruling like distances and everything like that, allows our rolls and everything. So yeah, she prepares heavily for this. She gets like the images from Elder Scrolls Online, maps from ESO. If it's not available, she finds like similar maps so we can use during the fights. She gets the music, she writes the story, so she's putting a lot of work into it.
Oh yeah.
And then we just tumble around and basically botch all of her plans, I think.
Yeah.
She apparently planned us to reach Daggerfall Covenant like several months ago. We just did because we keep getting sidetracked by stupid stuff. I mean, we once spent an entire episode, like 3-4 hours worth of episode, just trolling an innkeeper in Ebonheart. That's what we did. I got high on skooma. Ninja found someone to hit on, you know, and then we trolled an innkeeper. That's what we did for an entire episode.
Yep. Heroes, all of you.
So yeah, Ophelia does put a lot of work into it, but I don't think we are doing anything she is preparing. But it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. So that's pretty much my tales, honestly. I haven't done much Elder Scrolls related stuff other than the D&D. Obviously, New World closed beta was released, and because it was for a limited time, I wanted to just progress as much as I can and prepare as much as I can for the actual release. So I deep dived into that and literally did nothing else. Didn't go out, didn't see anyone, just played New World. So there's that. And now Spankinator got me into GTA 5 again. So I've been racing in GTA 5, but that's not a long-term thing. So starting next week, well, or tomorrow, I'm going to be back in Tamriel again with the live streams and everything. But yeah, just
what's the new dungeons
sort of got sidetracked.
Coming up at the end of the month?
What's coming up?
The new dungeons will be coming up.
Oh, yeah. So
TTS will be ending. New dungeons will be showing up soon.
When the new dungeons hit, obviously the Untaunted shall make a return, I would expect, because we are not letting Finn have the last laugh. We are gonna keep our all dungeon hard modes cleared streak going, not losing to Finn. Unless, I don't know, if he made these another Stone Garden level hard mode, then
back-to-back Stone Garden difficulties.
The second we cleared Stone Garden, it was like, how did we ever suffer with this? It was so strange. It all clicked. Like, as soon as we got the clear, it all clicked. Which reminds me, you ran a poll on Twitter.
Yes.
Which got a lot of votes. Yeah.
It did get a lot of votes. Finn actually retweeted it because I think he was interested in the results as well.
And the results are really surprising to me. I did not expect this at all. So the vote was, what would you consider the most challenging dungeon DLC in Elder Scrolls Online? Now, Twitter allows you to only put 4 options. So Dragon Bones, Scalebreaker, Wolf Hunter, and Stonetorn was the options. Dragon Bones got 23.3%. Scalebreaker got 37.9%. Wolf Hunter got 20.9%, and Stonetorn got the lowest, 18%. People think Scalebreaker is more difficult than Dragon Bones, which is more difficult than Wolf Hunter, with Stonetorn being the least difficult. And it's the only one we struggled as much as we did.
Scalebreaker, I feel... I was actually surprised that as many people recognize Scalebreaker. So that actually was... I believe Scalebreaker is the hardest dungeon pack that's been released. Because I know a lot of people struggle hard with Lair of Marsalok, especially that hard mode. And
I
What
can
the hell
definitely
is the other?
understand that.
Yeah, and then the other one, which I actually have never. I mean, you don't want to just pug Lair of Marsalok by any means, but Lair of Marsalok is a good challenge. Moongrave Fane, that one, that hard mode specifically, is a mess.
It was very rough. Yeah.
So that's why I think the combo of those is super hard. I know Castle Thorn gave you and Pixie some struggles, but Castle Thorn I have not thought is super bad. I mean it's not like easy, but
I think
it's
our struggle
it's just
with
getting
Castle
to
Thorn,
it the first time.
yeah,
and
our
then it just
struggle with
clicks.
Castle Thorn was assuming that the circle was random, but apparently it follows a specific path. Once, I believe it was Kiz when we were doing it live. Once Kiz mentioned that the circle actually follows a specific path, Castle
Yes.
Thorn did suddenly become a lot easier. But I don't know, man. Stone Garden alone,
So Stone Garden, that final hard mode is rough. And then the other thing is too, like I picked these four and was like, if you have another one, you know, feel free to just mention it. It doesn't need to be one of these because, like you said, you can only have four. But the Moonhunter Keep is kind of funny because I know a lot of people struggle with that, and the March of Sacrifices is super awesome. I actually love that dungeon.
yeah.
And Moonhunter Keep, it's just funny because Moonhunter Keep isn't necessarily hard, but that hard mode doesn't require a lot of burn. It requires a lot of control on your burn. Which is funny because I actually think Moonhunter Keep is one of the biggest pug killers just on that. That white wolf in the courtyard just wrecks pugs, like just unmercifully.
And it requires some communication as well with the big wolves, as well as the like symbols mechanic thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the final
but
wolves
yeah,
as
so
well.
it was very
chained and
interesting.
everything.
Interesting to hear that. And you know, some of the most beloved dungeons are Dragon Bones with Scalecaller Peak and Fang Lair, which again, those are a lot of. I think those are great dungeons, but they're one of the ones that were very RNG based mechanics, which even though I like those dungeons a lot, it's just like, oh god, like Fang Lair, we had just such a struggle bus with the RNG in that place. It wasn't anything.
But you were
that.
going for trifecta. I mean,
Well, yeah, I that's yeah, and in just to bring it up again, I know that sometimes they modify old content. I cannot recommend enough. Please, please, please make Mountain God a title. It's so awesome for that. It's super hard, so like a lot of people wouldn't probably still get it. You're not going to be just handing out free titles. But the trifecta in Scalecaller Peak, I want that title. It's so awesome.
honestly, like I think an achievement that big, like a trifecta on some of these, it's probably one of the most difficult things you can do. Well, not probably. It is the most difficult
there's nothing
content you
to
can
do
do as a 4-person group.
Yeah.
Literally, the hardest thing you can achieve is some of the trifecta achievements for these dungeons. And the fact that it doesn't give any rewards other than achievement points is disappointing.
They've started to tether stuff to trifectas now, which I do like, whether they be titles or they haven't attached skins, I don't think yet, but you're starting to get specific trifecta titles, which is neat because a lot of times when people don't like know who you are specifically, like in a group, and somebody's like, oh, looking for people to fill in for a trial or something like that, sometimes just a great way of if people are skeptical on like, okay, well, do you know what you're doing? And you can just click on like a whole bunch of trifecta titles, they just stop questioning what you do. So that is handy to have, just from that perspective. Yeah. But yeah, I've been liking the fact that they've been adding stuff to the trifecta pool as well as just here's one for hard mode. Here's okay, you might not get anything for Challenger, but you get something for doing it all at once or whatever. So it's like they're definitely going more in that direction, especially with the dungeons having now multiple hard modes. So it's like a tiered approach to getting harder as well.
Still, my favorite title is Pinnacle of Evolution, while I'm wearing nothing but a Nordic bath towel. That's just perfect. Just standing in the middle of a town doing the idle five, which is this proud, like hand on hip, proud, shoulders arched back look with my bath towel, and my title is Pinnacle of Evolution, and I think
so
that's
great.
Perfect.
But yeah, thank you everybody on Twitter for chiming in with that and letting us know what you think. Like you said, there was a lot of response to that. So.
I mean, I can understand Scalebreaker, but the fact that Stone Torn, Stone Garden was the lowest, like, I would at least assume, I don't know, Scalebreaker, Stone Torn, Dragon Bones, Wolf Hunter, maybe. But the fact that Stone Torn got the easy, like, deemed easiest,
the least
and
votes
the
for
only
the
one we struggled with more than 2 days on. Because every other dungeon hard mode in the game, we, at maximum, spent 2 evenings on it. Except Stone Torn Dungeons. So I guess there's something wrong with us. I don't know.
You're breezing through the hard ones.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, even Lair of Marcellok and Moongrave Fate, I think Moongrave... Yeah, they only took, like, 2 evenings of 2-hour-ish run. So about 4 hours total. But, yeah, I don't know. We gotta run more polls. I keep forgetting. Like, every time we run polls, I'm like, we gotta run more polls, and then...
I know. Well, they're super fun to see everybody's input. Like, that's one of the things. I love just seeing what everybody's opinion is, because to your point, sometimes I'm, like, totally blown away. I'm like, what? Really? That's... Wow, I am not in the majority opinion on this or something. Or other times I am, so...
There are some tanks in the comments that did mention Stone Garden tanking, though. Definitely.
Oh yeah, Stone Garden. Yeah, that final hard mode tanking is because sometimes a thing is a DPS test, other times it's a heal check. Stone Garden hard mode, like the final Stone Garden hard mode, that is such a tank check, such a tank check. So
dude, I mean, the entire time I was tanking Stone Garden, I was just screaming. I was just like,
oh yeah,
dodge rolling left and right, left and right, left and right. I'm like, just about to die, and I just pop my magma shell. I let Luna okay, I have magma shell for 17 seconds, so she heals the other people. And if I don't have my magma shell and I get hit by like poison, for example, oh boy, I'm like, I'm dying.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Anytime I do that hard mode, it's just that there's another scenario where I'm not calm. It's just all panic. It's like, oh god, I'm on fire, and now I'm poisoned and on fire, and now I'm poisoned and on fire and electrocuted, and yeah.
I love combustion. This will only hurt until you die. Freaking Arcasis.
His voice actor is hilarious.
It be your tail time, sir.
It is. So I guess in IRL stuff, I had mentioned it pre-stream and we were talking about it. So it took a while, what with shipping delays and everything, but here is my Dagon statue. It arrived. Where the hell's my camera? There it is. So there's Dagon. That bundle arrived, came with its very cool Flames of Ambition coin, which is way bigger than the one that they mailed out for the promotional thing, but very cool stuff. I will say the statue size, personally, I kind of like it because it'll fit on my shelf better, but size-wise, Dagon's a little smaller than some of the other statues. However, quality-wise, the paint job and whatever the hell that thing is made out of is way, way up in quality. That thing weighs a ton. And it also comes with like a poster as well, which I have not hung up yet. It's actually still in the box behind me. But very cool stuff. I was glad to finally get it. I know it took a really long time. A couple people started to get them over the past like week, and then I finally got mine as well. But yeah, oh boy, that thing, it looks super nice, but man, is that thing heavy. So definitely glad that finally arrived, because I know that was much anticipated from a lot of people. He'll go on my shelf along with my other stuff. The other thing of note that I wanted to bring up, I brought this up when I guested on the Unofficial Elder Scrolls podcast last week. When we did not record, I got to join them over there. So I joined Doc and Pylon, and we kind of talked about everything. And one of the things I mentioned, as well as heavily edited Battlespire tales, because I did not want to get them an explicit rating on their podcast.
They still maintain their
yes,
family friendliness, unlike us.
Yeah,
which we gave up a long time ago.
Yes. So one of the things I did, it's on my YouTube. I don't really do anything with YouTube. I need to edit this and add audio to it. I just uploaded it to have, but I had a couple people asking me about it. They're like, how did I not know about this or ever hear about this? So I uploaded it to have as documented. I might need to do some commentary. Maybe we can just put it up on, like, I don't know if you want to toss it on Dungeon Crawler, just so people know where to find it. Cause I don't do squat with my YouTube channel. I don't care. It's not a thing I do. I went through, and there's an achievement there is called Shocking Instinct in Cloud Rest. The situation with Shocking Instinct is largely fixed on PC because of add-ons. So it's something that you're never really going to notice unless you're an achievement hunter to begin with. If you play on PC, you can get it much easier. You can get it on console as well, obviously, but the description of it, for anybody who doesn't know, Shocking Instinct is to fight the bosses independently, so you have to do +0. You go to Reliquin, which is the boss which has the bar swap mechanic, and it can be on normal or vet. No one can ever take damage from the bar swap mechanic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The problem with that is not just pay attention, because as it's pulsing to pick the two people, when you are designated the person with it and the blue aura comes up, you immediately take 9 damage. I don't know if it's mitigation based, but I take 9 damage. You take 9 damage and then bar swap. So you're already negated. You can't get it then. You've taken any damage. And it's not individualized, it's everyone. So no one in the trial can ever take damage. It's rough, to say the least.
So wait, is it rough, but is it absolutely impossible? Do you know anyone who has this achievement? I do, because there's a couple ways of doing it. Okay.
The main method, which I was told on how to do it. Now, on PC, I was actually shown that because of the warning countdown that the add-on gives, you can flip when it says now, and it's literally timed at a point where it seems like it flips before the game registers damage.
I was gonna say with the add-ons it might be doable, but on consoles you don't have it, so...
Right. So one method of countering that is to do it on normal, so that you obviously have less... You're taking less damage, but the main thing is you have less time that you have to do it. The lightning mechanic is based on the Griffin, not Reliquin. Every time the Griffin rears back and screeches, that's when 2 people are picked for bar swap. So it's based on that. What you can theoretically do is have 1 tank and 11 DPS with a lot of DPS, grab them, like the enemies, and have all 11 DPS basically DPS parse on the Griffin so fast that it dies before it can ever rear back.
Is it doable?
Calculation-wise, I believe the lowest you can do to get rid of that is somewhere around 88k a second on every single DPS. It's heavy duty. Like you need a lot of damage to do that. But that is a method, and I know a couple of people did that, and I was like, that seems really rough to get that many people willing to do this and be coordinated. And I run with groups that absolutely sure. But that's you got to get people both interested and capable of it. And it's like, that is a hard DPS test to do that, even on normal. I put out a message because I don't know what I was doing that made me think of this, but we were talking about how great werewolves were. Okay. I was probably talking about how great werewolves were, in one of my groups, and somebody just mentioned, "Oh, I have a Cloud Rest run." And all of a sudden it came to me that I was like, wait a minute. How would a werewolf bar swap? It's only got one bar.
I would assume if you are a werewolf, you never get picked.
You would be correct. So I posted this on Twitter, and I appreciate everybody chiming in. There were actually a couple different opinions on it where people thought they saw different things. So shout out to Nephis Zynode, Jimmy Shabadoo, Bert Firkins, who all chimed in for it. And basically,
that's pretty much all the top people. I mean,
yeah, I know. That's why I tagged people. I was like, hey, question, what happens in this situation? And the end result was, well, test it out. And I was like, I sure will. So me and 4 buddies, Hazard, Delta, Neo, myself, who else did we have? We had somebody else on the team, and I feel bad for not mentioning them. Oh my God, I feel so bad.
Probably
there was another one of us.
Dominion.
If they are in the Elmir Dominion, it's right that you're forgotten. But I'm trying to remember who else we had. We had one other person. I feel bad that I'm not naming them where everybody else got named. Well, I apologize in advance if I forgot. Well, I thought there were 5 of us. Maybe there weren't. I don't know. Whatever the case, I'm not going to drag this out because I don't remember. But the group of us grouped up. Faceless, who actually listens to the podcast. So I'm really glad I didn't forget you. Faceless 117. You are going to leave a
1-star review now on iTunes.
You know what? It's acceptable. He's a huge supporter of the Dominion anyways. So Pixie's his favorite, obviously.
There you go.
So
I was right.
Yeah, but Faceless also joined us. So you weren't forgotten, Faceless. I just had a momentary lapse. But we all became werewolves. I'm always a werewolf, but we all became werewolves. And we're like, we're going to go with just us, and we're going to equip companions. Because companions only have 1 bar.
Oh.
So I was like, in theory, if we all prep our ultimates, go into this trial as werewolves, theoretically, no one is capable of bar swapping in the group. There are 10 of us. None of us can bar swap. What the hell will the game do? And the answer is, it deletes that mechanic entirely. So it makes it super easy to get the achievement.
See, now what I'm curious about is... Oh, but you can still bar swap even if you don't equip a weapon on the other bar. I was gonna say
you actually have to bar swap to your fists.
yeah. I was gonna say
something
what
else
would
we
happen.
tested. Yes, you bar swap to your fists and get electrocuted otherwise. Because if you're on your fists, your hands electrify.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so the video is like 6 minutes long of us doing it, and it shows that we popped the achievement because it was the first run. But the reason we did it without a full squad, and we did it with companions to show that we weren't doing so much damage, we were bypassing the mechanic, because we rotated through several times to prove that we were doing it. And it totally does not. So, yeah, if that's something of interest in, if you are looking for that achievement, be a werewolf. I suggest you at least have 2 people. Soloing it, even though you are physically strong enough to do that on normal, or could be. I don't suggest skipping portals because you will get a ton of monstrosities, which are obnoxious even on normal. So at least if you have somebody go down and do portals, which was also funny because the portal team was like, I'm so clumsy on a werewolf as they're trying to like send up shards. But yeah, it was a neat little experiment that worked out. So that was a way of getting around that pretty rough achievement that didn't sound that difficult, but ended up being way more difficult than it was actually expected to be. And that would normally, I guess, would be where I say, and that's the end of the happy news, except the most happy of all the news is since last show, I have beaten Battlespire. So the saga of torture up the Battlespire is finally done. It was a mess still. It wasn't short. I think since the last show, between the Havoc Wellhead and Mehrunes Dagon's hunting lodge, which is essentially the Deadlands, but it was a hunting lodge. I don't
Who knows?
I don't. He's got his little castle at the top of this mountainside, and basically the rest of it literally looks like the Deadlands. So I'm like, okay, I guess this was sort of the idea for the Deadlands, but he's got the hunting lodge thing, which again seems very here seen like. Before I talk about this next part, because this should not be I don't want to gloss over this, but I also need to preface, like we usually do, disclaimer, if you have youngins listening to this part, maybe earmuffs for a minute, because this caught all of us off guard on stream. So I've mentioned the scantily clad or topless people all the time. Your character is just legit, it's product of the 90s. It is what it is. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had mentioned the creepy Everscamp McLusthurst, who returned again on the Havoc Wellhead. And I was like, oh my God, it's back again. And I was talking with chat and just started uppercutting him in the corner, basically just to level up my fist fighting because I put some points into it. And while we were talking, apparently I sat there so long, it turns out he has a health count because he died. We looked at the video. I punched him for about 5 solid minutes just into a wall where he was clearly taking double damage because it was like, ow! And then he'd hit the wall and go, ow! And blood would fly out of him again. And then he'd like ricochet back into my fist. So I killed him
as a punching bag, basically.
Yes. And I actually I was like, oh my God, I killed it because I didn't expect anything to happen. I was literally just using him to level up my fist fighting. And I didn't know what to do. When he died, I was like, oh my God. So I looted his little burlap sack and he didn't even have anything good inside. So I was like, dude, what have I done? Spoiler alert, he came back later.
Well, his love for you.
His love is unrequited. So
yeah.
I ran from him the second time because that wasn't happening again. But apparently I didn't so much kill him as just simply put a roadblock in his, I don't know, highway of love or whatever. But the reason I mentioned that there's a bit of a disclaimer to this is there are the Dark Seducers or Bikini Bat Babes, as was named by Gone Crazy. And then there are the regular Seducers, which are basically just other scantily clad Daedra. I will be much less graphic than the game is because, man, was it graphic. You can have sex with them in the Havoc Wellhead.
I mean, it's a seducer. Technical,
you can just say
equivalent of a succubus.
Yes.
So
yep. And if you're interested in exactly how metaphorical or not the game gets about it, It's still on my Twitch. It will always be there as a VOD for everybody to be able to go back and watch these, because I was told that, a lot of people have requested, and that's why it started
The
with
cursed
Arena. People
highlights.
yeah. Oh my. Actually, that one was. I remember Loctavian had mentioned he came into my stream right as that was happening, and he just goes, "What is this?" I'm like, so they were super like, what is happening, and what did I just walk into in this chat? I'm like, don't even know. But yeah, you can have a pretty elaborate verbal sex scene with them. And afterwards, your character is kind of shocked and you take damage from it. Which was entertaining in and of itself. So that was an experience, to say the least. The rest of the Havoc Wellhead was basically using the Dagon's lieutenants, his 3 major lieutenants, which lead the 3 clans, which related to the coins that we made, that were sent out in promotion for the warring clans that Dagon's army is ruled by. You actually interact with the 3 current lieutenants in the Havoc Wellhead, which was pretty cool. 2 of them are douchebags. And I killed one because she was really a douchebag. The second one I threatened, and he gave over his key. And the third one was actually pretty helpful because he was like, yeah, Dagon's really kind of out of his element with this one. I don't think this is going to help in the grand scheme of things. So he actually was undermining Dagon's plan because he thought the ambition side was getting too far out of whack. And I believe he represented the hope side, if I remember correctly. So it's kind of neat that the things that Dagon stands for were like actually represented in a way by his lieutenants. So that was kind of cool, to be fair, with lore that stuck around. I have the problem with the gear score still, where I was not allowed to have above 3 armor on any piece of gear, which I had resigned to and saying it can't figure out exactly what the deal is, but it sucks. And I had that one piece that let me have 4 armor on my shoulders, my pauldrons. Well, when I'm on the final level, I'm roaming around, and as I read one of the things, it's like, okay, you need to know, if you're going to defeat Mehrunes Dagon, you're going to need to know his protonymic. You're going to need to know his neonymic, which is his ancient name and his new name.
Okay.
Which I'll do my very best later on to try to say those, because it turns out Mehrunes Dagon has a really fucking complicated name to say. But I need those 2 names. Got him. I need the, what was it? The Sword of the Moon Reaver, which his mistress, which is a Dark Seducer, has. And I'm like, okay, well, she's probably floating around on this final level here. She was. And then in order to be able to defend against all the magic and stuff, I need the Savior's Hide armor again. And I was like, that's not good, because I definitely took that stuff and threw it away. Because once I was done that level, I was like, I don't want to carry 42 pounds of crap that's not even any good. Like, weight is at a premium. So I had the shoulder pieces, and I think I might have been wearing the pants or something that was like a 3, and I was like, oh, I really hope there's a way to get this back. I will say, with the myriad of issues that this game has from a technical standpoint or anything like that, one thing that I do love that the devs did account for was, if you don't have what you need, there is a backup.
There you go.
There is a ghost on the way up to the hunting lodge who's like, yo, do you have that that armor still? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's not great. He's like, well, I collected I collected the pieces that were left behind.
Nice.
And here you go. I don't know what he collected because there weren't the same pieces. It was a totally different set of armor. Clearly level scaled for the final level, which throws all of the rules in the trash. I was allowed... Oh, hold on. I got to close the door because Boots is going to shout for a minute as my wife just came back from the supermarket. 1 second.
All right.
Gonna edit this in a minute. There we go. Sorry about that. Boots goes full haywire to say hello when my wife gets back from the store and she was at the supermarket. So
It's okay.
So the new set of armor that I was given was Daedric and Elven, and it's still a hodgepodge of crap, but all of the values were cranked. It was like 9, 7, all these armor things. It was like double, triple what I had before. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like my armor value went through the roof. It was like over 300%, like over what I was wearing the entire game. The only thing that we could figure out was I was not supposed to be able to wear Daedric. Nope, it throws that rule out. You can totally wear Daedric as long as it's a quest item. I was like, this is amazing. My damage mitigation went through the goddamn roof.
Oh, there you go.
I was this is incredible.
You struggled with it the entire game. Might as well at the end.
Right. I was like, well, it's the last level, but holy hell, I'm super durable. This is amazing. So, I progress up the thing. There's this giant ballista that I fired into the side of a mountain and casually rode up the mountain, which was interesting. There was some bullshit puzzle, which I almost made it to Dagon. I scaled the whole mountain and then realized I never actually got the Sword of the Moonreaver. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So I went back down the mountain trying to figure out what I missed. And the only reason I noticed that there was an island off to the side was because one of the enemies fell off and was stuck in midair spinning. And I was like, it would be a glitch that helped me discover this. So I was trying to figure out how to get over to the island. The answer was because everything in this game is so just... I learned to click on everything, as we had talked about way back at the start of this. Just click on literally everything in this game. You had to click on a rock, which would slide the rock, and then you click on a tree, and you don't do this elsewise in the game. You push a log at one point. You literally push over a tree, which becomes a bridge to get to the island.
Oh my... See, this is why I don't think I should ever play Battlespire, because no way I would try that. No way. Absolutely no way.
The only reason I did was because I was clicking on literally any item and the rock shifted and I was like, wait a minute. So then I pushed the tree and I believe it was Benefactor was like, man, it's a good thing there's no root system in that tree because it went right over for you. So yeah, I went over to the island. That was absolutely where the Dark Seducer was. And I talked to her and she was like, yeah, you could totally serve Mehrunes Dagon. I was like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know. You're pretty important. Maybe he'd befriend you. So I beat her to death because I didn't think that was the correct answer. And I learned earlier, don't trust Daedra. So I got my sword. I go all the way up to the top of the tower or the mountainside. And I get right at the front door, and to say there were a lot of enemies would be an understatement. There were like legitimately 25 enemy sprites at the top. Yeesh. And I looked up there and was just like, I only saw one at first. And basically I got hit with so many spells, it hurled me off the top of the mountain. Luckily, because my armor now isn't crap, I survived the fall, only shattering my legs and probably damaging my spine. But I was like, whatever, I'm alive. So I waddled my way back up. They're all blowing each other up and everything like that. I go up, we kill them. The moral of the story is they all died. digging my way in there, it was a lot of being very careful because there are these things called Daedric Lords and Daedric Counts, and they are obnoxious. They're not super difficult by comparison to anything else. The problem is, how can I explain what their attack pattern? So they're high in magicka, and for whatever reason, they cast every single spell in their arsenal, as well as seeming to just drain their magicka pool in 1 second.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So when you see them, it's literally, and your screen just kind of freaks out because you're hit with so many spells so fast.
I would say that's a bug. That sounds like a bug.
Your status bar, because it would put your statuses up basically at the top of the screen. Normally, like, the compass in Elder Scrolls games is like in the middle of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
On the left side, it basically puts them starting there if you get a status effect, and then puts the next one over, next one over, next one over. If you ever saw one of these and it hit you with something, the entire top of the screen would fill with all the statuses you just got hit by. So I used a lot of door cheese where I would just barely peek around the door and shoot them. And another great quote from the stream, I forget who made it, was that Sheogorath would be proud from seeing someone use this much cheese to beat Elder Scrolls Battlespire, which I really enjoyed that pun. That actually might have been Benefactor as well, but it was, so managed to get my way all the way up there. The very top, I run into Mehrunes Dagon. Mehrunes Dagon is just standing there because that's what the sprites do unless you talk to them. So he's just got this derpy little grin where he's just like, and he stands there, and Vadashir Tunnel is chained to the wall dramatically because it's a 90s game. So I go over, and while I was, I spark up conversation with him. He does not. He doesn't really have. He doesn't have the same dialogue tone, I guess it would be, as he sounds awesome in the new game. If you haven't played Blackwood, whenever you hear him talk, it's pretty awesome. Doesn't quite sound like that in Battlespire. It's just kind of a lot of voice modifiers on him. It's kind of just creepy because instead of having a super deep voice, it goes up and down.
Oh no.
So like he's really, really snarky, just like everybody in this game, especially my character. I'm a snarky hero. We just basically have a snark off where the two of us are just being smarmy douchebags to each other. Where my character very condescendingly is like, well, I'm here to beat you. And he's talking about how he's too good for that and all this garbage. And we go back and forth with all of this. And it's a pretty lengthy conversation. He gives me two choices at the very end, which everybody wanted me to check the other choice, so I totally did. He offers for me to join him, or I fight him. Everybody wanted to know if I got a cool dialogue if I offered to join him. Never touched a Daedra. He immediately is like, well, congratulations, prepare for your education. And my character just goes like, education? That doesn't sound good. Straight into the FMV of me being thrown in a cell to die. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I was like, why would you? Yeah, it wasn't a different animation, so I was a little bummed out by that. But it was still, it's like, okay, yep, the never trust a Daedra thing definitely carried through there. So the following one, I was like, all right. So we chatted up again, and I come out of the dialogue, and I take one swing, and I one-shot Dagon. Turns out the easiest character to beat in the Elder Scrolls Battlespire is Mehrunes Dagon. One swing, he has 1 hit point.
Is he like a full-size Dagon, or is he like more like Ball's avatar that we fight in Elder Scrolls Online main questline? Like
he's like let's see. What's a good comparison? You know the height of the guy who owns the Fighters Guild, or any completely generic NPC who's like 6 feet tall?
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's
okay, so it's not full-size Dagon, it's just like a small Dagon.
He looks like Goro from Mortal Kombat, to give people a reference. I smacked him, and it goes straight into an FMV, and the FMV is 90s cheese-tastic. He just goes, "Rah!" and like cartwheels down the like hallway. And I'm like, what is going on? And he like falls back, and then all of a sudden light starts coming out of him, and he's like, no! And he bursts into dust.
So 60 hours of suffering Elder Scrolls Battlespire for that ending.
And, well, that's just it. So then during this, it starts playing the dramatic Battlespire music. It's dan, 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 and the whole Battlespire starts blowing up for some reason, because who the hell knows? Whatever. The whole thing's blowing up. Dagon's a pile of dust at this point, and my character just leaves, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, no big deal. And then right at the end of the cinematic, the best way, and the only fitting way that Battlespire could end was as the FMV finished, the game froze and crashed.
So wait, technically you haven't finished Battlespire.
Apparently, there's a what I was told afterwards, because now I'm allowed to free reign, look up whatever I would like. There is apparently another bit of dialogue that is programmed, and it never goes through. The game always crashes first.
Well, in that case, yeah, you can't say you finished Battlespire.
I got a black screen, and I have a pile of Dagon dust. Ew.
You gotta play it again.
As a memento in crappy 90s FMV form to prove that I did. He's totally dead. He's a huge... So it seems like the moral of these stories happened with Jaegerbomb Tharn, happened with Mehrunes Dagon. They all have 1 hit point. Well, actually, Jaeger had a lot of hit points, but you didn't need to fight him. You could just walk over and take his over. It's like, crap, and he's melted.
Idea back then, like, I wonder if they were like, well, we made the game so difficult, like, or did they try to give that feeling of, hey, look how powerful you became throughout the game? I wonder what's the design element behind making the final boss squishy. That's so the opposite of every game today.
It really is. Like, it's all build up for like an instant win. And in this situation, like, I assume if I didn't have the sword, he'd just kill me. And actually, one of the things, if you don't swing fast enough, you just automatically die. There is no final fight. Like, it's poke to win.
Yeah, whoever
don't
hits
poke
first
to not win. Like, and I believe it was Braun Solo who suggested maybe it's because they didn't want it to come across as like, oh crap, we need a new set of mechanics to make this boss a boss. So
That's
instead it's just like, let's just go into a cutscene.
So that seems limited with the things you can do.
But yeah, it was after all of that grueling punishment getting through Elder Scrolls Battlespire, one little boop, and it was just like, yeah, it's totally done. all done. And as Cobra says, a true tank poke to win. So that was it. I used puncture, and it turned out he had no armor, which I guess he just wears a loincloth. So we really didn't have armor, and it was just that was enough to do him in.
So through all this, you never actually did try to pronounce the protonymic and the neo names of Dagon.
I clipped them out of the UESP. I have them in dialogue, but it's so I don't even know how to begin with this. Mehrunes Dagon has a protonymic of Lekelorga, which, if you were to pronounce that, would be, or spell that, I mean, would be Lehkelogh. Lekelorga? I'm guessing
if it was, a lot of these weird stuff is sort of pronounced similar to Turkish, as in phonetic. I believe it's called phonetic, like
okay.
Read as you write type thing.
Yep.
So if that was the case, it would be Lehkelogah. But
okay. Ooh, that's,
I don't know if that's the case.
That whatever, that works.
Depends
for me.
on the language origin, I guess.
Hey, whatever. I'll take it. I'll take it. That works for me. It's good enough for me. So that's his protonymic is what that would be. His neonymic is Djekaloha Debe Efehezepe. Which, if that sounded like me kind of just choking on my own tongue, wait for the spelling of this, and then I welcome anybody who would like to pronounce this. Your character does not say it aloud in game. Nobody says it back to you. And thank you for putting it in chat. So to spell it for the audio listeners, his neonymic is DJEHKELEHO hyphen DEHBE hyphen EFFEHEZEPE.
Well, I mean, I'm glad he changed his name to Daddy Dagon.
I was going to say, so the moral of the story after this is I was looking for my tie-in, like my ultimate tie-in to Blackwood and all this goodness. Obviously, he had a midlife crisis during the Battlespire, but learned from the experience by having no hit points and changed his legal name to Daddy Dagon because that name is ridiculous. And you ever want to win a stupid trivia contest, just memorize that. ESO Live, just boom, there it is. There's the answer.
I mean, it really does not sound the same if he were to say, you know, I am the Jekeleho Dehpe Efenzehepe and you are in my realm. That's just...
Oh my god.
Oh, who you are worshipping? Oh yeah, I am worshipping the Jekeleho Dehpe Efenzehepe or, you know, Lekelega. I mean...
Yep,
perfect. Doesn't sound the same.
Basic
Dagon, it's, yeah, Mehrunes Dagon.
Dagon, so much easier. So, but yeah, so with that, that concludes my synopsis of my blind playthrough of the Elder Scrolls Battlespire. We're now down officially Elder Scrolls 1 Arena and Elder Scrolls A Legend Battlespire. I give that, you know, like 46 syllables out of 10 for a rating because that is one of... You know, there really aren't a lot of words for what I thought of that game. It didn't work well. It was incredibly obtuse and convoluted. It was pretty difficult. It had really cool music. And the setting, I still kind of hope is referred to again because it had a really good vibe. Like the Chimera of Desolation was creepy. The Havoc Wellhead was pretty cool. The music, as you know, I haven't been able to say enough great things about. Also, that's one more thing that I guess in closing I should mention. As much as I had talked about how great the music was, The final level decided I've been enjoying something too much in the game. It is utter silence. The final level is pure silence. No ambient sounds, nothing. It is just mute except for the creatures.
I mean,
why? Why would you not have endgame music in the entirety of the final level? What were they thinking?
all I can say is congrats on not breaking throughout that experience. Mentally.
There were a couple points where I was like, this is really pushing it. Yeah, I haven't played Elder Scrolls Redguard in many years, so maybe I'm remembering. As much of a dumpster fire as Battlespire is, gameplay-wise, I'm not sure that I don't still dislike Redguard the most.
I don't know anything about it, so
everybody wants me to replay it because it was right when I joined the show, had been when I had been playing it offline to complete it, so I will be streaming that at some point. I am not ready for that again because Elder Scrolls Redguard has really cool additions to the series as a whole, story-wise and stuff like that. It is one of the worst video games I think that was ever made. Not to be hyperbolic. It's Battlespire all over again, except in a system that I like less because it's not an RPG. It's a platforming game that doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not a good platforming game either.
No, all I remember from one part of it toward the end is when I'm chasing the Dunmer assassin, and I'm going across these rooftops. And I remember trying to jump from rooftop to rooftop and just going through the buildings and dying. And it was like, oh, you missed. And I'm like, I landed entirely on this. What do you mean I missed? So, yeah. But Battlespire had some interesting bits, but woof. Don't recommend. And if you're interested in watching me play through Battlespire terribly, it is on my Twitch channel. So I saved the VODs, most of the VODs to Arena there. I did have some issues with Twitch deleting a couple of them way back at the very beginning. One was my fault. The other two were Twitch's fault, it seemed like, and they were unable to recover them. But most of Arena is there. All of Battlespire. Literally, I never played Battlespire where it was not recorded. So, but yeah, it's feels good, man. Feels good to not play Battlespire ever. Well, not never again, because I'm working on scheduling with the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages and the Imperial Library, and some people from the community, like hopefully Ishii and Slick Rick. I'll let everybody know the PvP stream is still in the works.
That's going to be interesting. I will be surprised if that actually works at all.
Gonna give it a shot.
I mean,
gonna give it a shot. Yes, Ugo. I was gonna say Ugo got a copy. Yep. So we're there. Just got to get as many people on the same page as possible to play, and hopefully we'll be able to. My goal is to see if we can chug through one team deathmatch and at least one capture the flag, because I know that's an objective mode. It's like just something. If we can honestly get the game to run at all, I'll be pretty impressed. But I'll do what I can do. But yeah, so that pretty much brings us back up to recap on all our adventures from me, at least, since last show.
All right, well, I guess I can speak for everyone listening that we are going to be looking forward to your next series of suffering, whether it be Shadowkey, whether it be Daggerfall, whether it be something else, the Java games, I don't know.
Yeah, the Java games. I think I might make a shot at one of the Java flip phone games next. I have the choices of Stormhold or Dawnstar are the names of the Elder Scrolls travel games for Java. I gotta mess with the files I have for them to make sure that they work through stream. I have zero idea on context of what those games are, but I'm thinking maybe we do a travels game next. So set your expectations low, and maybe we'll be surprised.
I mean, honestly, the worse it is, the better it is for us.
I know. Yeah, I know. Nobody likes me to actually just like breeze through this crap. I understand that. I became very aware of that during Arena.
The more you suffer, the more fun the tales are. So I hope it's worse than Battlespire. I love you, Lotus, but I am hooked on it. It's a different thing, man.
Yeah. And it was also mentioned in chat, Daggerfall. Daggerfall will obviously be old, because it's another old game. But Daggerfall, I know, is kind of what catapulted the series to a good direction. And looking back on Arena, I've learned that it's like the game is very dated, very hard, and very obtuse. So not looking anything up is definitely tough, which is obviously part of why I do that, because I know that makes it more entertaining. It's just trying to play through as if I just got the game and learned it on the fly. Daggerfall, I'm very curious because Daggerfall has so much love to it. So I actually kind of think Daggerfall might be fun.
Could be, yeah. Because
plus,
I
get to see Potato
like,
Mora.
Gallisner really liking Dagger.
Yes,
I
Gallisner loves. I think that's like his favorite game.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to what comes next for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, is there anything else?
That is it for me, I believe.
All right. Well, then in that case, let people know where they can find all of these shenanigans live or contact you and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm LotusOfDoom on Twitch, and Twitter as well. That's, I don't really have a specific schedule that I go on. I just stream when I get the chance. So again, as always, I greatly appreciate all of you that stop in, even if it's just to say hi while I'm streaming. It really makes these things a lot more fun to play through, and I know everybody has sent me many funny or nice messages, just kind of, whether they enjoy me bumbling through it or just seeing what the old game looks like in a lot of situations. So I will definitely be kicking that off again soon. And then other than that, you can catch me usually on the Elder Scrolls Lorecast that we record live on Thursdays. You can find us on all podcatchers as well, as part of the Robots Radio Network. The last couple of weeks have been a little tough. Tom's been a little under the weather, so, hopefully he keeps feeling better. And you can usually find us over there doing the Elder Scrolls Lorecast as another weekly show.
There you go, folks. Definitely follow Lotus, because if you think the Tales part of this is fun, you gotta catch him live or watch the VODs, because, man, he loses it. I mean, I'm talking weird sounds, screams, agonizing voice. It's the
What do you call it? Tank noises?
Yeah, the tank noises. Yeah, Battlespire noises.
Battlespire noises.
Inaudible screams. It's all there. As for everything we do, you can follow all of those over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There, you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, and all of our other shows. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com Dungeon Crawler Network. If you want to help support the show, you can get a whole bunch of benefits from it as well. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you all so very much for joining us on this episode of Tales of Tamriel, and we will see you all next time. Have a great time, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on sear it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.